Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I have a very exciting video for you. I'm going to be showing you my entire American Girl doll collection as of March of 2025. Before we start, I want to just say that this video is not meant to brag in any way. I know how incredibly lucky I am to have been able to collect these dolls over the years, and I truly cannot believe that my collection has grown to 207 American Girl dolls. American Girl has been such a huge part of my life, and I'm so excited to share this with all of you. Whether you are a fellow collector, just getting into AG dolls, or simply love seeing big collections, I hope you enjoy. Since they are so many, I have decided to split this into two videos. In today's video, I'll be showing you all of my historical characters and Girl of the Year dolls. Then, in the next video, I'll be sharing my truly me dolls and my custom dolls. I'm so excited to take you all in this journey through my collection. So let's jump right in. My very first historical doll in my collection is the lovely Samantha Parkington. I found her on Shopee, but when she arrived, her signature curls have been completely straightened. I did my best to bring back those gorgeous ringlets, and I think she turned out pretty well. Fun fact, Samantha must have some serious main character energy because I actually have 5 different versions of her in my collection. Next up in my historical collection is the sweet Kirsten Larson. I actually have multiple Kirstens in my collection, but you'll have to wait for the Truly Me in Custom Dolls video to see the rest of them. So stay tuned! My third historical doll is the iconic Molly McIntyre. I was so excited when I finally found her missing Dicky. It just completes her classic look. Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of Molly at first. Her studious, nerdy vibe didn't really appeal to me. But over time, she totally grown on me. Now I absolutely love her. Up next is the spirited Felicity Merriman. Right now, she's dressed in her beautiful Christmas gown, which I adore, but I'm still on the hunt for her original meet outfit. There's just something about the classic floral dress that feels so perfectly Felicity, and I can't wait to see her in it someday. My fifth historical doll is the stunning Kaya. While her traditional braids are beautiful, I personally love letting her hair down. It's so long and silky, and absolutely gorgeous. I can't get enough of it. Next up is the ever-curious Kit Kittredge. I'm so excited to finally have her in her original meet outfit. It looks absolutely perfect on her. I have so many kits in my collection that I've ended up customizing most of them, giving each one a unique twist. But honestly, I think Kit is one of the best starter dolls for any collector. Her timeless look and spunky personality make her a classic choice. Introducing my 7th historical doll, the stunning Rebecca Rubin. There's just something about Rebecca. She's absolutely gorgeous and effortlessly photogenic. No matter what outfit she's in, she always looks like she's ready for the spotlight. Next up is the groovy Julie Albright. One of my favorite things about Julie is her super sleek, stick straight hair. It's just so fun to style, but if I could change one thing, it would be her eye color. That's why whenever I get a secondhand Julie, I love swapping out her eyes for a lighter shade. It gives her such a new, fresh look, and honestly, I think it suits her even better. Up next is the lovely Nellie O'Malley. I was beyond thrilled when I added her to my collection. She's one of the rarer dolls. so finding her felt like such a lucky moment. At first, I was a little worried about her vinyl having that signature orange tint, a well-known flaw with Nelly dolls. But over time, I've grown used to it. Honestly, she's so adorable that I barely even notice it anymore. My 10th historical doll is the beautiful and inspiring Addie Walker. I absolutely adore my Addie, especially because she has one silver eye. It gives her such a unique charm and so much personality. Beyond just being a gorgeous doll, Addie holds incredible significance in representing the Black community. Her story is one of strength, resilience, and hope, making her one of the most powerful historical characters in the American Girl lineup. I'm so honored to have her in my collection. My 11th historical doll is the breathtaking Nanea Mitchell. I absolutely adore Nanea because she has one of the most unique face molds among all the American Girl dolls. It truly sets her apart and gives her such a special, one-of-a-kind look. Her warm hazel eyes and soft features capture the essence of her Hawaiian heritage beautifully. While I love having her in my collection, I'm really hoping to add more of her outfits soon. Her entire wardrobe is just stunning and perfectly fits her 1940s island aesthetic. Plus, I'd love to find a second-hand Nanea to customize and give a fresh creative twist. She's such a gorgeous doll, and I can't wait to expand my Nanea collection even more. The 12th historical doll is the lovely Marie Grace Gardner. However, the Marie Grace in my collection today isn't actually my original one. I was lucky enough to find another Marie Grace in great condition, complete with her signature pin curls, which are such a defining feature of her look. Since I couldn't resist giving her a fresh start, I decided to customize my original Marie Grace, adding a unique twist to my collection. I've always thought Marie Grace's face mold was so delicate and beautiful, so I'm beyond thrilled that American Girl has started using it more frequently in newer dolls. It's such an underrated mold, and I love seeing it get the appreciation it deserves. She brings such a graceful, vintage charm to my historical lineup, and I'm so happy to have her as part of my collection. My 13th historical doll is the stunning Cecile Ray. I still can't believe how lucky I was to find her with her complete meat outfit. She is such a rare gem, and I truly feel like I scored big with this one. Her vibrant personality shines through her elegant attire, and she easily stands out as one of the most eye-catching dolls in my collection. One of my favorite things about Cecile is her gorgeous curls. They add so much character and charm to her look, but I have to admit, I'm a little apprehensive to touch them. I worry that if I try to restyle them, I won't be able to get them to look as perfect as they do now. Her hair has such a beautiful bounce and volume that I don't want to risk messing it up. Cecile is such a special doll, and I love that she brings a unique and elegant presence to my historical lineup. She's a true beauty, and I'm so happy to have her in my collection. My 14th historical doll is the lovely Rudy Smittens. She has such an elegant and timeless look, and one of my favorite things about her is her stunning gray eyes. Not many dolls have this eye color, and I think it gives Rudy such a soft yet striking appearance. It complements her beautifully. Her dark curls are another standout feature. They add so much charm and personality to her, framing her face perfectly and making her look effortlessly sophisticated. I absolutely adore the way her hair falls in those luscious, bouncy ringlets. It's like she stepped right out of a classic storybook. Rudy is truly a gem in my collection. She has this quiet, graceful beauty that makes her so special, and I love how she pairs perfectly with Kit when still holding her own as a stunning historical doll. I'm so happy to have her. my 15th historical doll is the fabulous Ivy Ling. I'm beyond thrilled that she's now dressed in her full meat outfit. It really completes her look and brings out her vibrant personality. Funnily enough, I actually wasn't a fan of Ivy's original meat outfit when I first got her. I ended up selling it to someone else, thinking I wouldn't miss it. But as time passed, I started to regret that decision. Something about that retro, colorful style just grew on me. So I made it my personal mission to track down every piece of her meat outfit again. And now that she's wearing it, I couldn't be happier. Ivy is such a special doll in my collection. As one of the few Asian historical dolls, she holds an important place in American Girl doll history. And I love how her character adds more diversity and representation. Her jet black hair, warm brown eyes, and fun 1970s aesthetic make her such a standout, and I'm so grateful to have her. My 17th historical doll is the breathtaking Josefina Montoya. There's just something so special about her, from her rich historical background to her stunning features. Her warm brown eyes, delicate gold earrings, and signature long silky hair make her such a timeless beauty. One of the things I love most about Josefina is her unique face mold. It's easily one of my favorites. That soft yet expressive look gives her such a gentle and kind appearance, perfectly fitting for her character story. The Josefina mold has also been used for other dolls over the year, but there's something about the original that makes her truly iconic. I feel so lucky to have her in my collection, and I can't wait to add more of her outfits and accessories to fully showcase her beautiful New Mexican heritage. My 18th historical doll is the stunning Caroline Abbott. I still can't believe my luck when I managed to find her in her full meat outfit. Everything about her is just so elegant and dreamy. One of my absolute favorite things about Caroline is her breathtaking combination of features. Her soft golden curls cascade so beautifully, and her aquamarine eyes are simply mesmerizing. They have this almost ethereal glow that makes her stand out among the other historical dolls. She truly has this graceful, almost storybook-like presence, which fits perfectly with her adventurous yet compassionate personality. Caroline was retired way too soon, in my opinion, so I feel extra lucky to have her in my collection. I'm definitely hoping to collect more of her outfits in the future to fully capture her historical charm. My 19th historical doll is the lovely Emily Bennett. She is such a beautiful doll, and I still remember the excitement I felt when I won the bid for her. It was such a thrilling moment. When she first arrived, she was definitely in TLC condition, and I knew she needed some love and care to restore her to her former glory. But with a little patience and a lot of effort, she has responded beautifully. And now she looks absolutely stunning. Her delicate features and soft red hair makes her such a charming addition to my collection. Emily is often overshadowed by other historical dolls, but I think she's such a gem. There's something so sweet and understated about her look, and I adore the way she complements Molly's story. I feel so lucky to have her, and I can't wait to dress her up in more of her historical outfits. My 20th historical doll is the sweet and stylish Mary Ellen Larkin. To be completely honest, I wasn't initially drawn to Mary Ellen. At first glance, I thought she looked a bit too simple compared to some of the other historical characters, so I didn't have much interest in adding her to my collection. But then one day, I stumbled upon someone selling her for an amazing price, and I had one of those why not moments. Without overthinking it, I decided to take the plunge, and I'm so glad I did. Now that she's here, I can truly appreciate how adorable and unique she is. Her strawberry blonde curls are absolutely lovely, and her bright, cheerful personality really shines through. There's something so fun and nostalgic about her 1950s aesthetic, and I love styling her in vintage-inspired outfits. I can't believe I ever hesitated to get her. She's definitely a doll I've come to love. My 21st historical doll is the elegant and graceful Elizabeth Cole. Elizabeth is yet another doll I never thought I'd have in my collection. For the longest time, she felt like one of those dream dolls that would always be just out of reach. But then, fate intervened. I came across a listing for an Elizabeth in stunning condition, with her signature golden locks still beautifully intact. And well, you can probably guess what happened next. I simply couldn't pass up on the opportunity. And now she's here, looking as regal as ever. There's something so timeless about Elizabeth. Her delicate features, soft curls, and elegant colonial era style makes her such a standout. I'm beyond thrilled to finally have her in my collection, and she has definitely lived up to all my expectations. My 22nd historical doll is the incredibly talented and inspiring Melody Ellison. Interestingly, Melody wasn't technically the first version of herself in my collection. Before I got my hands on an actual Melody doll, I had a Truly Me number 47 that I rewigged to resemble her because I love her character so much. For a while, that custom Melody filled a spot in my collection, and I was so happy with how she turned out. But then, luck struck when I finally found an official Melody. There was no question that she had to take center stage. Her warm brown eyes, classic bangs, and beautiful story made her an absolute must-have. Of course, I didn't want my original custom Melody to go to waste, so I ended up giving her a new identity through customization. I'm so glad to have a real Melody in my collection now. She's such a special doll with an incredible message, and I absolutely love her. My 23rd historical doll is none other than the totally rad Courtney Moore. Courtney is extra special because she's the only new historical doll, aside from the duplicate Samanthas, Mollys, and Kits I've collected, that I added to my collection in 2024. She represents the vibrant and nostalgic 1980s, and I love her fun, retro vibe. I was lucky enough to find her in great condition, even though she arrived nude. While she may not come with her iconic meat outfit, I'm determined to track it down so she can rock her original full look. In the meantime, I've been having a blast dressing her up in fun 1980s inspired outfit. Because let's be honest, Courtney is all about bold fashion choices and the classic throwback aesthetic. I can't wait to complete her look and truly bring her character to life in my collection. And there you have it, my incredible lineup of 23 historical dolls. Each one has their own special place in my collection, and I love how they bring different eras to life. As of now, I'm still missing Claudie Wells and the Hoffman twins, Nikki and Isabel. Claudie is definitely at the top of my wish list, and I'm hoping to welcome her into my collection very soon. As for the twins, well, they're not exactly a priority for me at the moment. While they're cute, I just don't find them unique enough to rush out and get them. But who knows, maybe one day they'll surprise me and find their way into my collection after all. For now, I'm beyond thrilled with the historical dolls I've gathered, and I can't wait to see where my collections goes next. Now let's dive into my Girl of the Year collection. I'll be introducing them in chronological order, following their official release years rather than the order in which I added them to my collection. I'm beyond thrilled to say that I managed to collect every Girl of the Year up to 2023. It's been such an exciting journey tracking them down, and I truly hope to one day complete the entire lineup. Fingers crossed that I can keep up and add every future Girl of the Year to my collection as well. First up is Lindsay Bergman, the very first Girl of the Year from 2001. I was absolutely thrilled when I finally added Lindsay to my collection. She's quite rare, so finding her felt like such a huge accomplishment. While she's not wearing her full meat outfit, I am determined to complete it someday. Next, we have Kaylee Hopkins, Girl of the Year 2003. Kaylee was actually a total impulse buy. I wasn't actively searching for her, but when I saw her pop up on eBay, I placed an offer without really expecting anything. To my surprise, the seller accepted. Even better, my Kaylee still has her original meat hairstyle and outfit, which is a huge rare find. Now, let's talk about Marisol Luna, Girl of the Year of 2005. Marisol is such a special addition to my collection, and thanks to Lindell Heimer, she now has her complete meat outfit. Seeing her fully dressed in her original look makes me appreciate her even more. And then there's Jess McConnell, Girl of the Year 2006. I was lucky enough to get Jess in 2023, and now my goal is to track down her full meat outfit. One of the reasons I had to have her in my collection is her face mold is actually named after her. The Jess mold is one of my absolute favorites, so owning the original Jess herself makes her even more special to me. My fifth Girl of the Year is Nikki Fleming. But funny enough, she isn't the first Nikki I've owned. My original Nikki was well loved, but when I stumbled upon a better conditioned one, I couldn't resist upgrading. The best part? I finally managed to get her full meat outfit, which made my day. Having two Nikkis is actually a bonus. I can dress up my first one in any outfit I like without worrying about keeping her original look intact. It's so much fun to style her in different outfits. Next up is Mia St. Clair, and let me tell you, she was a rescue mission. Mia was, hands down, the most TLC doll I have ever received at that time. When she arrived, she was icky, sticky, dirty, and in rough shape. Honestly, the only parts I could salvage were her head and limbs. She originally had an Our Generation body as a temporary fix, but I was determined to restore her properly. After a long search, I finally found a headless American Girl body to use, and now she looks so much better. She went from a complete disaster to an absolutely adorable doll, and I love her even more because of the journey it took to fix her up. For Krista Maxwell, I was thrilled to finally get her full meat outfit. It felt like such a victory after searching for so long. Krista is such an underrated doll, and now that she's in her original outfit, she feels complete in my collection. But what makes Krista even more special is that she has two companions, and I'm so lucky to have them both. First is Gwen Thompson, who I was over the moon to find in her complete meat outfit. Gwen is one of those dolls that just feels extra special because she wasn't available for long. Having her in my collection makes my Krista set feel so much more complete. And then, something truly miraculous happened. Heaven smiled down upon me, and I was able to get Sonali Matthews. Sonali is extremely rare, and for the longest time, I thought she would always be out of reach because of how expensive she usually is. I had pretty much accepted that I'd never own her. But then, out of nowhere, I found one for an unbelievably cheap price. I could not believe my luck. Now all that's left is tracking down her full meat outfit, and she'll be absolutely perfect. I still can't believe she's actually in my collection. It feels like a dream come true. Next up is Lainey Holland, Girl of the Year 2010. Lainey holds a special place in my collection, but not for the usual reasons. When I first got her, I had no idea she was a Girl of the Year doll. I just assumed that she was a random truly me. It wasn't until later that I realized I had unknowingly adopted my very first Girl of the Year doll. Looking back, it's kind of funny that my first Girl of the Year was an accidental addition. It took me a while, but in 2022, I finally managed to track down her full meat outfit, which felt like a victory after all those years. Now she looks just as she should, ready for an outdoor adventure. Here comes Kanani Akina, Girl of the Year 2011. Kanani is one of those dolls that always felt like an unreachable dream to me. She's so highly sought after, and for the longest time, I thought I'd never own her. But miracles do happen, and somehow, I scored a Kanani. I still had to pinch myself when she arrived. She was finally mine. And to make it even better, she came in her full meat outfit, which just made everything feel complete. Every time I look at her, I still can't believe my luck. Next is McKenna Brooks, Girl of the Year 2012. McKenna's hair is absolutely stunning. Her long caramel locks are just mesmerizing, and I totally understand why so many people love styling her. I was so lucky to get her in her complete meat outfit, and she quickly became one of my favorites. Something about her just gives off such a confident, determined energy. It's like she's ready to take on the world. Sage Copeland, Girl of the Year 2013. Sage was another doll that took a while for me to complete, but in 2022, I finally got her original meat outfit. The same year I completed Lainey's. It was so satisfying to check both of them off my list in the same year. Sage's artistic and adventurous personality really shines through in her look, and I love her bright blue eyes that makes her stand out. She's definitely a beauty. Isabel Palmer, Girl of the Year 2014. Oh boy, now here's a fun fact. I now have 3 Isabels. I honestly don't know how this happened. Well, okay, I do, but I never really planned on having multiples. Since I don't like having duplicate dolls, I ended up customizing the other 2. But let me tell you, resisting another Isabel is easier said than done. There's something about her that just keeps pulling me in. Maybe it's her soft pink highlights, or maybe it's the fact that she looks so elegant and poised. Either way, she's here to stay. Grace Thomas, Girl of the Year 2015. I truly believe Grace is one of the prettiest dolls American Girl has ever released. Her sleek brown hair, stunning blue eyes, and Parisian-inspired theme make her feel extra sophisticated. When I finally got her city outfit in 2022, it felt like the perfect addition to her collection. She just radiates class and charm. She's the kind of doll that always looks effortlessly stylish. Leah Clark, Girl of the Year 2016. Leah's eyebrows are to die for. Seriously, her feathered eyebrows are just so beautifully done. I even tried copying them whenever I paint eyebrows on my custom dolls. Though let's be honest, Aegis designers set the bar high. In 2022, I was finally able to complete her meat outfit, and she looks as adventurous as ever. I love her warm skin tone, sun-kissed hair, and how her whole look embodies a tropical explorer vibe. She's such a unique and striking doll. Gabriella McBride, Girl of the Year 2017. Gabriella made her way into my collection in 2023, arriving at the same time as my Jess doll. so it felt like a double celebration. When she first arrived though, her wig was in serious TLC condition. I won't lie, it looked rough, but after some patience, a little detangling magic, and some deep conditioning treatment, I managed to restore her curls back to their full glory. Now she looks so much better, though I'm still on the hunt for her complete meet outfit. Fingers crossed that I find it soon. Luciana Vega, Girl of the Year 2018. Luciana is one of the best deals I ever snagged. She was in fantastic condition when I got her, and the price? An absolute steal. The only catch? Her meet outfit isn't an original AG one. But honestly, if I could just get all the meet outfits, even if they were knockoffs, I'd be over the moon. Luciana is such a striking doll with her bold space theme look, and I just love her overall vibe. I still can't believe I got her for such a great price. Blair Wilson, Girl of the Year 2019. Blair holds a very special place in my heart because she's the only American Girl doll in my collection that was brand new when I got her. My tita gifted her to me, and honestly, that makes her extra special. Knowing she came from family just adds to the sentimental value, and I think that's why she remains one of my absolute favorite Girl of the Year. There's something so charming about her soft curls and warm farm girl aesthetic. She just feels different from the others in the best way possible. Joss Kendrick, Girl of the Year 2020. Joss has been on my wish list since the moment she was released. She's iconic, not just because she was the first doll with her face mold, but because she's also AG's first ever doll with disability. That representation made her a must-have for me. When I finally got her, and in her complete meet outfit no less, I was so overjoyed. Everything about her is just so unique, from her hearing aid to her surfer girl energy. She's truly a groundbreaking doll. Kira Bailey, Girl of the Year 2021. I got so lucky with Kira. She came in near perfect condition and in her complete meet outfit. Her green eyes and blonde waves make her look so soft and dreamy, like she just walked out of an Australian wildlife sanctuary. If I had to be completely honest though, her hair is a bit on the thin side. But hey, no one's perfect, right? Despite that, she's still an absolutely gorgeous doll, and I'm so happy to have her in my collection. Corinne Tan, Girl of the Year 2022. Corinne is actually one of the few dolls I managed to get in the same year she was released. That doesn't happen often to me, so it felt extra special. Her cool toned hair is everything, and she just has a striking look. Now, I really want to add that Truly Me that shares Corinne face mold to my collection, because let's be honest, it's one of the prettiest molds AG has ever come out with. Kavi Sharma, Girl of the Year 2023. Kavi's story is one of those wild moments where the universe just seemed to be on my side. I casually posted on Reddit how I hope to get Kavi someday, without really expecting anything to come out of it. But out of nowhere, someone messaged me saying she was looking to rehome her Kavi. And not just any Kavi, a Kavi in pristine condition, with her complete meet outfit, no less. I jumped at the chance, and now she's part of my collection. I still can't believe I got her in the same year she was released, and basically brand new. It's moments like this that make collecting so exciting. You never know when luck is going to strike. I love how each of my Girl of the Year dolls has a story, whether it's a lucky find, a heartfelt gift, or an unexpected surprise. Each one adds something special to my collection, and I can't wait to see which dolls I'll add next. Tenny Grant, the almost Girl of the Year. Now let's talk about Tenny Grant, a doll who isn't technically a Girl of the Year, but she has such a fascinating backstory that she might as well be. Did you know that it was rumored she was originally supposed to be the official Girl of the Year for 2017? But when fans got wind of Iggy's plans to feature a second straight, blonde, country-singing Girl of the Year, there was major backlash. In response, Iggy pulled Gabriella McBride out of the archives, dusted her off, and made her the actual Girl of the Year for 2017, while Tenny was given her own separate line. Conspiracy or not, Tenny still holds a special place in my collection. When I got her though, she was in rough shape. It was almost like she had lived the full rockstar life already. Tangled hair, scuffed vinyl, and in general, I'd been on tour for years 5. But after some much-needed restoration, I managed to bring her back to life, and now she looks stage-ready once again. Logan Everett, the lone boy in the crew. Next up, we have Logan Everett, the one and only boy doll in my collection. I wasn't originally planning on getting Logan, but the moment presented itself, and since he was such a sought-after doll, I figured, why not? And honestly, I've never regretted that decision. Having Logan in my collection has actually been pretty fun. He had some much-needed variety. And let's be real, how could I have Tenny without her bandmate? It just wouldn't feel right. Plus, Iggy boy dolls are very rare, so I felt like he brings a unique dynamic to my lineup. Makena Williams, the eBay gamble that paid off. Now, onto Makena Williams, a World by Us doll who technically isn't a Girl of the Year either, but since she's a standalone character, I figured she deserved a spot in this lineup. Makena's journey into my collection was nothing short of a roller coaster. I was just casually strolling through eBay one day, and I saw a listing for her at a price that seemed too good to be true. And you know what they say about deals like that. If it looks too good, it probably is. But something in me said, just go for it. So I took a huge leap of faith. And to my absolute delight, it wasn't a scam. I got an authentic Makena in great condition for a bargain. Now I just need a Maritza Ochoa and a Yvette Peters, and finally, I can complete my World by Us trio. Fingers crossed that I find them soon. And there you have it, my entire Girl of the Year and Honorary Members collection. As for 2024 Girl of the Year Laila Monetti, well, I'm in no rush to add her to my collection. If I'm going to be honest, I find her a bit on the basic side. There's nothing wrong with her, but she doesn't exactly wow me either. However, if I do ever find her at a bargain price, you bet I won't hesitate to scoop her up. Who knows, maybe she'll surprise me and become a favorite over time. Same goes for Summer McKinney. So what's next? More Girl of the Year dolls? More customs? The possibilities are endless, and I can't wait to see where my collecting journey takes me next. And that wraps up this part of my collection tour. But don't worry, this is just the beginning. Stay tuned for part 2, where I'll introduce you to my Truly Me dolls and custom creations, which, believe it or not, make up a whopping 75% of my entire collection. There are so many unique and special dolls to share, each with their own story, transformation, and creative twist. Thank you so much for watching and following along on this journey with me. I truly appreciate all the support and excitement from fellow collectors. See you in the next video. Stay fabulous and thank you for watching.